Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour. Rallies ban in Kano after violent clash between supporters of political parties. Police in show of force exercise in Abuja deploy 16,000 men in Kaduna ahead of 2023 elections. Mastermind of Abuja-Kaduna train attack arrested, foreign currencies recovered. Away from Nigeria, iconic West African revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara reburied in Burkina Faso. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. We begin with political matters. Kano State Police Command on Thursday said it cancelled all political party rallies in the state with immediate effect following clashes between supporters of the ruling All Progressives Congress and that of the New Nigeria People's Party. The ruling APC and the leading opposition NNPP had planned for their grand finale rallies on Thursday ahead of the Saturday presidential and National Assembly elections. The police authority had invited the leadership of the trio of APC, PDP and NNPP for emergency meeting where they were cautioned against possible security threats in the state. The violent clash left many vehicles vandalized along Naibawa Zaria Road in Kano. NNPP presidential candidate Rabiu Kwankwaso is billed to hold his mega rally in the state on Thursday. Reports say that security agents have arrested some thugs involved in the clash. Now, Daily Trust Kano Bureau Chief Clement Oloyede speaks on the development. We'll bring you updates to that story later. Meanwhile, the national leader of the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, has arrived Kano ahead of the Saturday's general elections after touring over 500 local governments out of the 774 in 36 states and Abuja. A statement by Sanusi Dawakin Tofa, NNPP campaign spokesman in Kano, said NNPP gubernatorial candidate Abba Yusuf, his running mate Aminu Abdulsalam, and all the three senatorial candidates of the party in the state accompanied Kwankwaso. The statement said that NNPP members in their hundreds of thousands and well-wishers of the former Kano State Governor welcomed the party candidates. Dawakin Tofa said that Kwankwaso is the second Kano citizen to secure a presidential ticket of a major political party after Malam Aminu Kano in the history of Nigerian politics, expressing hope that Kwankwaso will emerge the first Kano man to serve Nigeria as the democratically elected president. Meanwhile, 17,401 policemen are deployed to man strategic locations in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, during Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections. FCT Commissioner of Police Sadiq Abubakar said this during the command's show of force with other sister security agencies on Thursday. Noel Sampson reports.
The purpose of the show of force exercise is to reassure residents and will-be voters that security operatives are on ground to endure violence-free elections.
The show of force is to show miscreants or those who are planning to disrupt the election process that we are ready. And we are not going to leave any stone unturned until we see that the election is conducted peacefully. We have a total number of about 17,401 officers and men that will participate in the election. And when we are talking of the morale, you can see that. And some of you have also seen when I addressed other officers from the command. This is just a joint task force. We have others from various divisions, from various departments.
The commissioner also reassures FCT residents of the command's determination to provide security coverage during and after elections.
We have divided the Federal Capital Territory into 9 sectors, and that all the suburbs and all those terrains you think that cannot be reached are under these sectors, and we have made arrangements on how to reach all of them. We also have officers from various divisions and area commands who might not come here. All those who are coming here are those who will reinforce what we have already on the ground. We have always given our telephone numbers, and the telephones are always, the numbers are there. You can call 24 hours. That we have been doing even before the election. Even myself, you can reach me at any time, you can reach any of the officers. We have divided the Federal Capital Territory into 9 sectors, and all the sectors are going to be manned by assistant commissioners of police, and that the numbers will be made available. So if you have any query or any explanation, or you want to give us any information, the numbers will be there. The Inspector General of Police and of course heads of other security agencies have made a lot of provision, a very convenient and comfortable arrangement for the welfare of our officers. So I think that will not cause any problem.
The police will restrict movement of people except those on essential duties until after the elections. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the military high command on Thursday said personnel of security agencies will not hesitate to use strong force against any element who plans to destroy presidential election billed to hold on Saturday. Acting Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, stated this at Defense Headquarters, Abuja, during a joint press briefing of critical security agencies. Those in attendance include spokesman of the Department of State Services, Peter Afunaya, the public relations officers of Nigeria Police Force, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, NAF spokesman, Air Commodore Wab Maigida, and among others. The spokesman to the Nigeria Police Force, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, disclosed that all security details attached to important personalities and top politicians in the country have been withdrawn. Now, the spokesman of the DSS, Peter Afunaya, said that the secret police will not back down in clamping down on the political thugs who are hell-bent in making election ground a battlefield rather than allowing the polls to hold peacefully. He disclosed how the personnel of the service recovered dangerous weapons like guns, swords, jackknives, and others from Kano State on Wednesday. The newly deployed Commissioner of Police in Kaduna State, Sunday Babaji, says over 16,000 police personnel will be deployed in the state to ensure a hit-free election. The Commissioner stated this while briefing journalists on the level of preparation ahead of this Saturday's election. Here's the report.
The Commissioner also said personnel of other sister agencies will also be deployed to complement the police effort in ensuring a violence-free election in the state. Sunday Babaji said an operational order has been drawn while electoral guidelines have been issued to all officers and men of the command on the role they are expected to play before, during, and after the polls.
Kaduna State Police Command is well prepared. An operation order has been drawn, distributing the jobs to all the area commanders, all the tactical commanders, all the officers and men, including sister security agencies. They are all briefed, they have been lectured, they have been trained, and an electoral guideline has been issued to all the officers and men on the roles expected of them before, during, and after the election.
The Commissioner therefore cautioned the electorate to desist from presenting any party identification, vote buying, as well as any other electoral offense, warning that anyone caught will be prosecuted.
The Kaduna State Police Command is deploying over 16,000 police officers for this election. Yes, during the polling unit, it is very, very clear. Electoral offenses are very clear. During the election, canvassing of votes, wearing of party slogans or shouting slogans or signs are not allowed. And also the popular thing is vote buying is also not allowed. You will see many of the, is it ICPC, EFCC, the police together, they will be deployed all to check that happiness.
If anyone caught,
he will be prosecuted under the Electoral Act.
The commissioner said the Kaduna Police Command and other security operatives will deploy special forces to trouble areas in the state to ensure elections are conducted peacefully. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And now, moving on, troops of Nigerian military attached to Operation Wild Punch have apprehended one of the masterminds of the terrorist attack that happened on Abuja-Kaduna train service on March 28, 2022. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Damadami, who revealed this at Defense Headquarters in Abuja on Thursday, also disclosed that the sum of $5,000 as well as other currency were recovered from the suspect. Damadami said that the suspect was one of the 3 terrorists apprehended by the troops at Damba community in Chuku local government area of Kaduna State on February 14 during an offensive operation. According to him, the operation also led to the recovery of 2 motorcycles, mobile phones, and some sundry items, adding that troops on fighting patrol neutralized 7 terrorists at Ongwambirni in Kajuru local government area of the state. Now, the multinational Joint Task Force has released compensation grants to relatives of 21 deceased soldiers and officers, including civilian JTF who lost their lives during operations in fight against insurgency, at a tribute to men of the force who paid the supreme price in 2 major operations of Sharam Fage and Lake Sanity of borders of neighboring countries. The force commander of the multinational Joint Task Force said their sacrifice contributed to the restoration of peace in the Northeast. He said that the sacrifices of the fallen heroes will not deter the force to rest on its oars until peace is completely restored in Nigeria.
They are indeed the pride of the Lake Chad region and particularly Nigeria. Our debt to these heroic and valiant troops and other partners can never be paid or compensated for. It is only but a show of gratitude and appreciation. They have earned our undying gratitude and we will never forget their sacrifice.
I am pleased to state that the entire armed forces and nation remain grateful to our fallen heroes and their families as we continue to do our best to restore total peace in the Northeast and other theaters of the country. And I assure the sector and others of quality leadership and support to continue to work in ensuring that we end the insurgency in the Northeast.
The federal government says it is not in breach of the Supreme Court's order restraining it from enforcing the February 10 deadline for the withdrawal of old 1,500 and 200 Naira notes. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, addressed the issue on Thursday while briefing journalists at the State House in Abuja. Ahead of the Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections, the Minister of Justice pointed out that the present administration had exercised the political will to enhance democratic practice through legislative, political, and administrative interventions. Kehinde Amodu reports.
A 7-member panel of the Supreme Court had ordered the suspension of the Naira swap deadlines and directed the continued use of old notes following a request by 3 state governors. However, in a broadcast, the president only restored the validity of the old 200 Naira notes, maintaining that the old 500 and 1,000 Naira notes had ceased to be valid. The broadcast had raised questions about the powers of the president to partially obey the Supreme Court's injunction. The Attorney General of the Federation is, however, insistent that the president did not breach the Supreme Court's injunction.
The fact remains that this matter is sub judice, as you rightly know. Is being contested before the Supreme Court, and when an order is made, you have multiple options within the context of the rule of law. 1, you are entitled as a matter of right, if the facts and evidence support your position, to apply for setting it aside. The position of the law, legal jurisprudence is clear. Once you are attacking, and then seeking for a setting aside of an existing order of the court, you cannot be said to be operating in breach.
Along this line of argument, some state governors and individuals are being investigated for alleged treasonable utterances over the currency swap. Noting the certain undertones of treason in some of the utterances, the AGF is stressing that investigation cannot be ruled out.
These issues are usually issues that are issues of process. So you cannot rule out the possibility of investigation, but the responsibility of investigation and doing the needful arising from the weight and assessment of the implications of the statements and utterances is the responsibility of security agencies, and I believe they are doing the needful in that respect.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Justice says the Electoral Act 2022, signed by President Buhari in May last year, has laid the groundwork for free, fair, and credible elections.
I believe, and certainly so, that you will agree with me that what we had in 1999, what we had in 2003, 2007, 11, and 15 is certainly different from what we have in terms of the quality of our electioneering processes. So we have been evolving, we will keep revolving, and we will keep attaining.
As elections swoop in, the Attorney General of the Federation is explaining that the rationale behind some of government's recent policies is to enable citizens to assume collective ownership of the electoral system, rather than allowing a few moneybags to take charge. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Now, poor communication network coupled with naira scarcity is taking toll on businesses in Nigeria's commercial city of Lagos, with residents lamenting hardship the situation is subjecting them to. Abbas Ibrahim reports that the instructions given by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on use of the old naira notes of 500 and 1,000 naira has not been complied with.
Lagos is vibrant and commercially active, but naira scarcity and network failures have become sources of frustration for the resident. The residents lament the difficulties and hardship they face daily since the policy was introduced. Sunday Ejua said cashless transactions are failing when the cash are difficult to get.
I make a transfer up till now, since 11 o'clock up till now, and the transfer, they don't debit me, but the transfer don't go from my phone. But the woman where I want to buy the thing from, didn't receive the alert up till now. I sit down till 11 o'clock, look at the time now, almost to 3 minutes to 3.
Also, Riskat Jiolu said her children find it difficult to go to school, even though she has money in her bank account, rendering her penniless.
Very, very hard. You have money in bank, you cannot collect it. Our children, some of them, we don't have money to give them to go to school. It's very bad. We are suffering.
Austin Peter, a Keke Napep driver, said his business is declining due to the current situation in the country.
I'm a Keke driver, so we carry a passenger. So now the traffic are doing no cash.
Abdulaziz Umar, who sells spices, said he used to sell 5 bags of ginger in a day before, but now hardly sells half of a bag.
Before I'm selling up to 5, 2, 3. Now, look what I said. Inside of 1 bag. Look what is now.
Despite these difficulties, many residents said they will go out and vote on Saturday.
I'm going to vote. From me, I'm ready to go and vote. But okay. I'm begging, make everything change. This Nigeria, as we are going now, very bad. I have my
my voter cards, my PVC is my house. And on Saturday, which is 25, I will go out. I want to vote.
For me, I'm not sure because which one your vote no they like Yanakpaja. How you won't take how you will take when not take you go there.
Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Now, in our series on presidential candidate, Shafiu Suleiman profiles Atiku Abubakar, the People's Democratic Party candidate.
Born on the 25th of November 1946 into the family of Garba Abubakar, a Fulani trader and farmer in Ganye village in the then administration of the British Cameroons, now Jada local government area of present Adamawa state, northeast Nigeria. Atiku Abubakar, the Waziri in Adamawa, was enrolled into Jada Primary School at the age of 8 after the then government discovered he was deliberately kept out of school by his father, who was fined and jailed for a few days for doing so.
He is a shy person, as I once said during his book launch. He hardly stands up to defend himself against outrageous claims, ridiculous claims, blatant lines.
I've discovered in him somebody who is so patient and somebody who listens and somebody who doesn't quarrel, somebody who doesn't backstab you, and above all, his nationalistic tendencies and instincts and reasoning. I found in Atiku Abubakar one of the few Nigerians.
His political sojourn began in 1980s when he worked behind the scene for the Bamanga Tukur governorship campaign organization. Atiku was earlier discovered by his political mentor, late retired General Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, during his days at the Nigeria Customs Service. He was soon drafted to join the meetings of what is today known as the Yar'Adua political dynasty, where he and other top shots such as Babagana Kingibe, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Rabiu Musa Konkoso, Sabo Kinzo, amongst others, went through tutelage under the umbrella of People's Front of Nigeria, which later merged with the government-created Social Democratic Party, SDP.
To rescue and rebuild our country, we must first take over the mantle of leadership from the party that has driven us into this mess. To do this, we must all be united in purpose and come together to fight and win all the elections.
Though Atiku Abubakar won election for the governorship of Adamawa State in 1999, luck again beacon as he was nominated running mate to the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Olusegun Obasanjo. Atiku spearheads the Council on Privatization, which sold and unbundled many public enterprises and assets, including the power and telecom sectors.
Allegation of corruption, allegation of, when he was the vice president, he sold many of the privatized companies to himself and his cronies. These have not been proven. But you see, in politics, mudslinging, rabble-rousing, character assassination, name-calling are part of the intrigues.
Atiku's disposition on running government is not heading for his penchant for a private sector-led economy, restructuring amongst others. He has since indicated interest to hand over the nation's oil company to investors if elected president to guarantee its efficiency against growing concerns amongst Nigerians over the outcome of the previous exercises he handled. Though a successful businessman who had invested in many sectors such as education, energy, bottling companies amongst others, he is said to have failed short of mentoring and nurturing political proteges like one of his opponents. He has also been fingered in alleged corruption scandals which he serially denied. As he ran for the office of the president for the last time, as he declared, the former vice president Atiku Abubakar is amongst the top contenders for the #1 job in the country. He is also a family man with 4 wives and many children.
Now, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, says that the ruling party is going into the elections which is just some days away, as a united entity which is working to secure victory for its candidate, Bola Tinubu. Senator Adamu, who interacted with senior editors in Abuja on Wednesday evening, said that despite the number of state governors in the court challenging the federal government's currency redesign policy, they were all in support of the party going into elections, as they could not work against themselves. Kehinde Amodu reports.
A lot of analysts have been emboldened to speculate that the ruling All Progressives Congress is imploding in light of the economic hardships and the controversies that have arisen from the implementation of the Naira redesign policy. Presently, no less than 10 APC governors are in court challenging the federal government's deadline for the withdrawal of old 1,500 Naira notes from the economy. The APC chairman is admitting that despite the soundness of the policy, it may have been ill-timed, while the implementation of the policy has not been up to par. But he says it does not mean the governors are against the party.
The next election, virtually every APC governor is a stakeholder. I don't see any governor working against the party in the forthcoming election. Quite a number of these governors got carried away by the pressure from the citizenry towards the people that they govern. And there's nothing wrong in a leader identifying himself with the problem of his people.
The APC national chairman is confident about the chances of his party in the elections, in spite of statistics which seem to indicate that young voters form a larger percentage of registered voters and could spring a surprise in the polls.
I don't know which of the three classes you will see the assertion that because 75% of the youth registered to vote and because they have identified, I don't know where they looked at the identification statistics, they identify with a particular party, a particular candidate. I wish APC good luck in the election. And I want to assure you that we will beat the party you have it in mind.
But isn't the party concerned that the violence in the southeast could impede elections in the region?
My appeal is that they should try to see reason. They should try to see reason. There's nothing wrong in the agitation. It's self-determination. It's allowed. It's given their freedom. But where this involves the life of people, killings, maiming, destruction of property, committing arson, burning properties and what have you, I don't have stomach for it.
A few days to the elections, the APC is sounding confident about its chances in the 2023 elections. And in just a matter of time, it will be evident if its confidence was well placed. From the Federal Capital, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, 7,286 kg of skunk destroyed in Edo Forest. Details of this and more after the break.
Nigeria na we country, APC na the party, na one man be a choice.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Treated a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a look at the top stories again. Rallies ban in Kano after violent clash between supporters of political parties. Police in show of force exercise in Abuja deploy 16,000 men in Kaduna ahead of the 2023 elections. Now, earlier we told you that Kano State Police Command on Thursday said it cancelled all political rallies in the state with immediate effect following clashes between supporters of the ruling All Progressives Congress and that of the New Nigeria People's Party. Let's get some updates on that. Daily Trust Kano Bureau Chief Clement Oloyede has more for us.
The communication we heard from the NNPP campaign spokesperson confirmed that the presidential candidate of the party is already in Kano, despite the earlier issues that broke out, the violence that broke out. And from that communication, it made it clear that it was not meant to be a campaign rally, but more of an homecoming. The issue, yesterday we heard that the police met with all the political parties and told them of the security situations. And at the end of the day, advised them not to hold any rally. I think the party agreed to that and said Kongoso was only coming to Kano to cast his vote on the election day. And the statement from the spokesperson, like I said, has confirmed that Kongoso has made his way into Kano and is ready to cast his vote. And as to the situation in Kano, is a little bit tensed. There are multiple information coming, but the only official communication for now, which is coming from the civil defense, NCDC, is confirming that at least 7 persons were killed in the violent attack on supporters of NNPP earlier today. What is not clear is the identity of those that were killed, but what we gathered is that 7 persons were killed, and the civil defense said that at least 65 persons were arrested by them. And we also learned that in the region of 70 to 70 something suspects were arrested earlier and taken to the police command. Up to now, the police has been silent. All efforts to get a reaction from the police has not been fruitful. We called to the spokesman of the command, SP Aruna Kiawa, has not been answered. Several times I called, he replied and said he was in a meeting, and text message sent to him was not responded to at the same time. And this has made it difficult to confirm another breaking news that we had, that 2 local government chairmen who are serving in the APC government were arrested earlier today with firearms, and that they were the ones leading the thugs that attacked the NNPP supporters. Like I said, it has not been officially confirmed, but on sources in the security agencies confirmed to myself that these 2 LG chairmen were arrested. But up to now, the police, and I was told that they are in the custody of the police, but the police up to now has not said anything. They have been incommunicado, so to say. So as of now, that is the situation of things. Things are a little bit remain calm, but people are still tense because of what happened. One of my reporters told me that when they were still coming back from the press briefing from the civil defense this evening, they saw a corpse that is set ablaze on the road along that Zaria road. That is how terrible the situation has been.
Now, ahead of Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has begun the distribution of sensitive materials across the 23 local government areas of Kaduna State. While distributing the materials, the Commission assured Nigerians of its readiness to deliver free, fair, credible, and transparent elections. The report.
Political parties' representatives, as well as international and local election observers, were at the Central Bank branch in the state to monitor the dispatchment of the election materials under heavy security presence. The State Administrative Secretary, INEC, Kaduna State, Awal Mashi, says the Commission has received sensitive materials for 4.3 million eligible voters, noting that none will be disenfranchised in the state.
We have received material for the 3 sets of elections, the presidential and the National Assembly elections. With respect to the figure, it is a well-known fact that Kaduna State has 4.3 million registered voters. So we should expect to have a similar number because we do not wish to disenfranchise anybody. Everyone that has been registered in Kaduna is going to cast their ballot come election day, 25th of February.
He stated that they have received cash from the Apex Bank for the smooth running of elections across the 23 local governments, assuring that there is no cause for alarm as they have provided security at all polling units.
In receipt of some of the monies we will require for the execution of the election, not for all aspects of the election. For instance, the corpus that we are going to engage, we intend to give them cash for some of their allowances, not all their allowances. Again, with respect to transportation, we've engaged the NURTW and NATO, we have talked with them and we have agreed with them that we are going to give them part of their money in cash.
Some political parties' representatives commended the electoral umpire for their readiness to deliver transparent elections in history of Nigerians.
So far, so good. We can say INEC has done well and will continue to monitor closely to ensure that this election is the most free and fairest ever conducted in this country, so that the outcome will not only be acceptable, but everybody will be happy with it.
Well, from what I've seen, it seems INEC is very serious. They seem to be prepared for the election. Even the ballot papers are here already. So I think we got to give them pass mark for the preparation so far.
Well, as we can see, all of us here, it seems like INEC is very okay and ready for 2023 general elections. At least all of us are impressed, all the political parties.
INEC, while insisting that BVAS machines will be used across all polling units, added that it is positive no voter will be denied their right to vote. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC in Gombe and Taraba states have taken custody of sensitive election materials from Central Bank of Nigeria. Speaking to journalists, the resident electoral commissioner in Gombe State, Umar Ibrahim, said that the electoral body is ready to conduct free, fair, credible elections. Security operatives, officials of various political parties, including some of the candidates taking part in the upcoming general election, were at the venue to witness the distribution of sensitive materials in the state. Some party agents expressed satisfaction with the distribution exercise and assured of their determination to ensure a successful poll.
My message to INEC is ready. The elections are going to elections going to take place. We are ready. According to all electors to come out and pass Saturday and exercise their franchise.
In the course of this exercise, we have come here to see the distribution of the sensitive materials to the various local government areas. And so far, the exercise has been very transparent, and we are comfortable with what the INEC are doing.
At least, from the look of things and what we have seen here, the exercise is moving as expected.
I came here to observe how the materials are being distributed, and the material came in from Yola yesterday, and it was offloaded.
Ahead of Saturday's election, Nigerians have been told not to only focus their attention on the presidential and governorship elections, but to also ensure scrutiny on candidates running for the 469 National Assembly seats. The executive director of a civil society organization, Order Paper, OK Epia, made the call, saying Nigerians may suffer in the next dispensation if they do not pay attention to those who become members of the National Assembly. The report.
Going by the concept of representative democracy, the legislature is the first and foremost arm of government and it plays a crucial role in the sustenance of democracy. From 2011, 2015 and 2019 up till now 2023, there has been an increase in appetite among the citizenry to participate in the electoral process, but essentially they are not properly informed about the legislative elections as well as the duties and obligations of lawmakers. This is a major challenge, and the need for citizens not to only focus their attention on the presidential election or the gubernatorial election, but to elect the would-be lawmakers based on merit or performance in the case of returning lawmakers.
The polls and anticipation and expectations are incomplete if we do not call attention to who become members of the National Assembly post-9th Assembly. In other words, we strongly believe that the preponderant attention and focus on the presidency tends to rob us off of the attention we should pay to those who populate this precinct, these hallowed chambers of the House of Representatives and the Senate.
While there appears to be increasing awareness among Nigerians about the National Assembly elections, a lot of eligible voters do not know most of the candidates vying for legislative seats. And research shows that about 0.23% of the lawmakers have nothing close to an articulated manifesto.
So when candidates begin to say to electorates that we are going to alter the Abuja master plan when we get into office, when candidates begin to say that we think that we need more roads that will connect Kuje and Kuwali, for instance, you see that there is already a lack of understanding of what they know about the legislature. And they ride on that lack of understanding also that the people have to just latch on what the presidential candidates are saying. And that's why you have, resort to when we vote top to bottom.
Nigerians are encouraged to take advantage of the list released by the Independent National Electoral Commission to scrutinize the candidates seeking their votes.
As members of the media, we also owe ourselves a duty to really push out what the lawmakers who have represented the city for a long time, what are they doing, what laws have they passed. And yesterday on a radio program where I anchor, it was really interesting to hear that one of the House of Representative member in the current 9th Assembly have only sponsored one bill.
In 4 months' time, the 10th National Assembly will be inaugurated after proclamation by the new president.
Still on the polls, with less than 48 hours to the presidential and National Assembly elections, the Anambra State Police Command has read the riot act to any suspected hoodlum that tries to disrupt the Saturday's election. The police commissioner, Echeng, stated this in a press conference at the police command headquarters in Awka, the state capital. The commissioner of police also urged residents of Anambra to come out on the election day to exercise their franchise and assured of adequate security.
Those who think that they can disrupt this election, to re-advise themselves. If they come out to do anything, the weight of the law will be fully on them. Our advice is that they should stay off, because election is going to hold in Anambra State. Deploy unarmed men, law enforcement agents to man the 5,720 polling units across the state. B, to escort and protect all INEC personnel and ad hoc staff on election duty, which we have commenced today. Escort and protect all sensitive and non-sensitive electoral material as may be required by INEC. Provide robust security, confidence building patrols across the community to ensure or reassure the citizenry and encourage voters to come out and exercise our franchise on election day.
The Enugu State Police Command has commenced investigations to unmask criminal elements suspected to be members of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and its militant wing, the Eastern Security Network, ESN, who allegedly kill political party members in the state. Trust TV earlier reported that yet to be identified gunmen attacked and killed some members of the People's Democratic Party, the All Progressives Congress, and Labour Party at Topland by Ebony Paint Road and Eke Otu, both in both in Amechi, Okunano, Enugu on Wednesday night. It was gathered that the assailants who operated in a tricycle attacked a PDP campaign minibus and used a petrol bomb to set it ablaze, burning to death its driver, simply identified as one KC Great. Now, another set of armed assailants operating in a Hilux vehicle attacked and also set ablaze the campaign vehicle of the Labour Party at Ekeotu, Amechi, Okunano, Enugu, and burnt to death the party's senatorial candidate for Enugu East Senatorial District, Oibo Chukwu, and his personal assistant who was with him in the vehicle. A statement issued on Thursday by the spokesperson of the Enugu Police Command, Daniel Ndukwe, said that the Commissioner of Police in the state, CP Ahmed Amani, had visited the scene of the incident and vowed to ensure that the perpetrators were fished out and made to face the full wrath of the law. International Press Institute Nigeria has called on authorities to investigate last Tuesday's night attack on Wish FM and Atlantic TV in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. According to reports, some hoodlums threw dynamite into the broadcast complex housing the radio and television stations, shooting sporadically for almost half an hour without any hindrance. IPI Nigeria President Mosikilu Mojid condemns the attacks and rejects any attempt to muzzle the press, calling on the federal government to immediately fish out the perpetrators of these attacks and prosecute them. To serve as deterrent to others still harboring any plans to attack media houses and journalists, IPI demands that those behind the criminality be identified and prosecuted. Now, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have destroyed 7,286 kilograms of warehouse skunk and 5 hectares of its plantation at Ojogba Forest Reserve in Esam West local government area of Edo State. Now, the special operation carried out on Wednesday followed credible intelligence that some cartels had warehoused hundreds of jumbo bags of the illicit substance inside the thick forest of the reserve for distribution to some states ahead of the general elections. A statement signed by the NDLEA's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, said that the operation faced stiff resistance by armed guards of the drug lords until they were overpowered by superior firepower of strike force officers of the agency in a gun duel. A statement said that 2 rifles, spent cartridges and of short guns and an empty shell of AK-47 rifle were recovered, while a 24-year-old suspect, Calvary Essien, was arrested. Time now for us to take a quick break. The news hour continues shortly. Join us again.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. It's the News Hour on Trust TV. It's time for us to take a look at business updates presented by Chiamaka Mwafo.
Activities in the information and communication technology sector contributed 16.22% to Nigeria's real gross domestic product (GDP) in Q4 2022. This is according to the Q4 GDP statistics report that was released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS). This shows an increase in contribution when compared to the 15.21% recorded in the same period last year. Quarter on quarter, the sector also recorded a growth in real GDP contribution when compared to the 15.35% it added in Q3 2022. For the whole year, ICT's total contribution to the country's GDP stood at 16.51%, higher than the 15.51% reported in 2021. And finally, in stocks, the Nigerian stock market on Thursday extended the bullish trend as the all-share index grew by 0.61% to close at 54,646.38 points. Market capitalization appreciated by 0.61% to close at 29.769 trillion naira, adding 180 billion naira. The market break closed positive as 28 equities emerged as gainers against 10 equities that declined in their share prices. An aggregate of 142 million units of shares were traded in 2,651 deals valued at 1.8 billion naira. That's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Mwafo.
Now let's take a look at stories from the foreign scene. Now, the body of Burkina Faso's revolutionary and charismatic leader, Thomas Sankara, has been reburied alongside 12 comrades at the spot of their assassination nearly 30 years ago. Soldiers and community leaders paid tribute during a ceremony on Thursday at the site in the capital, Ouagadougou, which has since become a memorial for the former leader, featuring a life-size statue of him pumping his fists in the air. All the coffins were draped in Burkina Faso flags with a photo beside them. Sankara came to power in August 1983 as an army captain, aged 33, after he and former President Blaise Compaoré led a leftist coup that overthrew a moderate military faction. Nicknamed Africa's Che Guevara, he was a fiery Marxist-Leninist who blasted the West for neocolonialism and hypocrisy. He changed the country's name from the colonial-era Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, meaning the land of honest men, and pushed through a range of reforms, including promoting vaccination and banning female genital mutilation. At least 96 people have been killed in more than 2 weeks of clashes between security forces and clan members of the breakaway Somali region of Somaliland Hospital. Hospital Director Ahmed Mohamed Hassan on Thursday said 96 bodies and 560 wounded from the contested town of Las Anod have been brought to the facility. Garad Jama Garad Ali, a senior clan chief, had said on Wednesday that 150 people had been killed and 500 wounded. Somaliland, which claimed independence from Somalia since 1991, has never been recognized internationally and is often seen as a beacon of stability in a chaotic region. The latest fighting broke out on February 6 in Las Anod, which straddles a key trade route and is claimed by both Somaliland and neighboring Puntland, a semi-autonomous state of the northeastern Somalia. Heavy fighting was still raging on Thursday, according to the region's clan leaders and witnesses, with the UN saying that more than 185,000 people have been displaced by the violence. Search and rescue efforts in a collapsed coal mine in North China's Inner Mongolia autonomous region resumed after a halt caused by a massive landslide at the rescue site. So far, 4 people have been confirmed dead and 49 others remained missing. Rescuers have brought out 10 people from the debris. Now, those still alive were immediately sent to the hospital, according to the rescue headquarters. Time now for us to take a look at sports updates presented by Adeni Ajishafe.
All is now set for the second edition of the Nigerian Cricket Federation Women's Competition, scheduled to hold in Lagos. President of the Federation, Oyi Akpata, who disclosed this, said the competition will be hosted from March 19 to 26, 2023. Akpata said that world-class facilities have been provided for the competition, with NCF Women's T20 International being one of the avenues to showcase, groom and maximize the use of those facilities. Rwanda beats Nigeria by 52 runs at Tafawa Balewa Cricket Oval in Lagos to win the maiden edition of the competition. And in football, the lineup of teams and groupings for the upcoming 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup to be co-hosted by Australia and New Zealand is now complete, after Panama secured the 32nd and final spot, defeating Paraguay. Following the conclusion of the playoff tournament, Portugal edged Cameroon 2-1 with a late goal. The tournament will mark the first time 32 teams will be competing for honors at the Mundial, which Nigeria has qualified and played in since its inauguration in 1991. Other teams to fly Africa's flag at the World Cup are reigning African champions Bayana of South Africa, the Atlas Lionesses of Morocco, and the Chipolopolo of Zambia. Panama defeated Paraguay 1-0 in the final qualifying playoff in New Zealand on Thursday and will be playing at the tournament for the first time in Group F alongside France, Jamaica and Brazil. Haiti, third team to book their spot at the World Cup from the final qualifying playoffs, beat Chile 2-1. Recent signed Olympic Lyon player Melchi Dumone scored twice to ensure the 55th ranked nation took the last spot in Group D alongside European champions England, China and Denmark. Meanwhile, Portugal will make their first appearance in the finals after 2-1 defeat of Cameroon. They will have a tough assignment in Group E against defending champions USA, Vietnam and the Netherlands. 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup starts July 20 and ends on August 20. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we wrap up the news hour for tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.